Right now, as you read this, two fist-sized organs tucked behind your lower back are doing something almost impossible to believe. They are filtering your entire blood supply, every drop you have, roughly 60 times over the course of a single day. That is about 180 liters of blood, processed silently, continuously, without a single moment of rest. You did not feel it. You did not notice it. While you were making coffee this morning, sitting through meetings, scrolling your phone before bed, your kidneys were working at a level of precision that no machine ever built by human hands has come close to matching. And here is what should genuinely stop you in your tracks. After the age of 60, those same kidneys begin losing approximately 1% of their filtering power every single year. By the time most people reach 80, they have lost somewhere between 30 and 40% of the kidney function they had in their 30s. The terrifying part is not the loss itself. It is that you will feel absolutely nothing while it is happening. No pain, no warning, just a quiet, invisible decline that continues day after day until a routine blood test one afternoon changes everything. Most people spend their entire lives completely unaware of how kidneys actually work, and that gap in understanding is costing them dearly. Inside each kidney are roughly 1 million tiny filtering units called nephrons. Each nephron contains a cluster of microscopic capillaries called the glomerulus, which acts like an ultrafine sieve, pushing fluid and waste out of the blood. Connected to that is a tubule, a coiled little tube lined with cells that work furiously to reclaim everything your body actually needs: water, minerals, glucose, amino acids, pulling them back into the bloodstream before they are lost as urine. These tubular cells are so energy hungry that they are packed wall to wall with mitochondria, the tiny power generators inside every cell in your body. When those mitochondria start to falter, the whole system starts to crumble. And after 60, 4 destructive processes begin attacking the kidneys simultaneously, all feeding into each other in a downward spiral that most doctors will not catch until the damage is already significant. The first process is called glomerulosclerosis, where the tiny filtering capillaries scar over and thicken, reducing how much blood can actually be filtered. The second is tubular atrophy, where those energy-hungry tubular cells accumulate so much mitochondrial damage that they are slowly replaced by useless fibrous tissue that cannot do anything. The third is interstitial fibrosis, where scar tissue begins filling in all the spaces between nephrons, squeezing blood vessels and tubules alike until blood flow becomes restricted and the whole system starts choking itself. The fourth is vascular damage, where the tiny arteries feeding your nephrons narrow and harden, starving the entire filtering system of the oxygen it needs to survive. These 4 processes do not arrive one at a time. They come together, amplifying each other, turning a manageable decline into an accelerating collapse. But here is what most people never hear. These processes are not purely inevitable. They are driven by oxidative stress, inflammation, and poor metabolic function, all things that can be influenced. And the best time to influence them is during the one window your kidneys are already primed for repair: the night. During sleep, your body does something remarkable. Blood pressure drops by 10 to 20%. Growth hormone surges during deep sleep, signaling cells throughout the body to repair and regenerate. A cellular cleanup process called autophagy ramps up, going through damaged proteins and dysfunctional organelles like a maintenance crew working the overnight shift. For your kidneys specifically, three critical repair processes unfold in the dark. A protective gel-like coating on your glomerular capillaries, called the glycocalyx, which gets worn down throughout the day, begins rebuilding itself. Inside the tubular cells, damaged mitochondria are broken down and replaced with fresh ones through a process called mitophagy. And for the first time all day, the clearance of uremic toxins, the waste products that slowly poison kidney tissue, finally begins to outpace production. Think of it as the one window every 24 hours where the damage can actually start to be undone. But here is the catch. None of these repair processes happen automatically or for free. They require specific raw materials, specific compounds that must be circulating in your blood during those nighttime hours. If you go to bed with nothing meaningful in your system, the repair crew shows up to find an empty supply room. But if the last thing you drink before bed is deliberately chosen to deliver exactly what your kidneys need, you change the outcome entirely.
The first drink you need to understand is hibiscus tea, and it earns its place at the top of this list for a very specific reason. Blood pressure is the single most destructive force acting on your kidneys over time. And most people have absolutely no idea how sensitive kidney tissue is to pressure. The glomerular capillaries are designed to operate within a narrow pressure range. Even mildly elevated blood pressure, the kind a cardiologist might glance at and wave off, can be slowly grinding those capillaries into scar tissue year after year. After 60, more than 60% of people have elevated blood pressure, often without knowing it. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of Hypertension found that hibiscus tea produced an average reduction of 7.5 points in systolic blood pressure and 3.5 points in diastolic pressure. That is comparable to some first-line medications. The mechanism is elegant. Compounds in hibiscus called anthocyanins inhibit an enzyme that produces angiotensin II, one of the most potent vascular constrictors in the human body, with particularly aggressive effects on the tiny blood vessels inside the kidneys. When you block that enzyme, those vessels relax, pressure drops, and the glomerular capillaries get a reprieve from the mechanical battering that was slowly destroying them. What makes hibiscus especially powerful when consumed in the evening relates to a phenomenon most people have never heard of, called nocturnal dipping. In a healthy person, blood pressure naturally drops 10 to 20% during sleep. This dip is not an accident. It is an actively regulated process that gives the cardiovascular system and the kidneys their essential overnight rest. After 60, a significant number of people lose this dip entirely. Their blood pressure stays elevated even while they sleep, which means the kidneys are being hammered by high pressure around the clock without any window of recovery. A study from the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that people without this nocturnal dip had significantly faster kidney function decline than those whose blood pressure dropped normally at night. Hibiscus tea consumed in the evening has been specifically shown to enhance the overnight pressure reduction, essentially restoring the protective dip in people who have lost it. Steep 2 tablespoons of dried hibiscus petals in hot water for 15 to 20 minutes and drink a large cup about 90 minutes before bed. It is naturally caffeine-free, so your sleep will not suffer for it.
The second drink is tart cherry juice, and it works through a mechanism that most people would never guess. The overnight kidneys are deeply involved in regulating uric acid, the waste product created when your body breaks down compounds found in every cell you have. After 60, uric acid levels tend to creep upward for two reasons. Filtration efficiency drops, so less is being cleared, and the tubular cells responsible for actively pushing uric acid out into urine become sluggish due to mitochondrial dysfunction. When uric acid accumulates, it begins forming microscopic crystals inside the renal tubules and surrounding tissue. Those crystals trigger intense inflammatory reactions that damage tubular cells, promote scarring, and further reduce the kidney's ability to clear uric acid. It becomes a self-reinforcing trap. A landmark study in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that every single unit increase in serum uric acid was independently associated with a measurably higher risk of developing chronic kidney disease, even after accounting for blood pressure, diabetes, and every other known risk factor.
Tart cherries are the most potent natural uric acid lowering food ever studied, and they work through two completely distinct pathways. First, compounds in tart cherries inhibit xanthine oxidase, the enzyme responsible for the final step in uric acid production. This is the exact same mechanism used by allopurinol, one of the most commonly prescribed drugs for gout and elevated uric acid. Second, tart cherry compounds enhance the activity of uric acid transporters in the kidney tubules, actively pulling more uric acid out of the blood and into the urine for excretion. A study in the Journal of Functional Foods found that tart cherry juice significantly reduced uric acid levels in older adults within hours of consumption, and the reduction persisted through the overnight period, meaning the kidney spent the entire repair window exposed to safer uric acid concentrations. Tart cherry juice also contains natural melatonin, which promotes deeper, more restorative sleep. And more time in deep sleep means more growth hormone, more autophagy, and a more complete nocturnal blood pressure dip. Use 1 teaspoon of tart cherry concentrate mixed into a small glass of water about 60 to 90 minutes before bed.
The third drink is dandelion root tea. And despite its humble reputation, the science behind what it does for your kidneys is genuinely impressive. Dandelion root contains active compounds, including sesquiterpene lactones, phenolic acids like chicoric acid and chlorogenic acid, and a prebiotic fiber called inulin. The most immediately relevant kidney benefit is its diuretic effect. But this diuretic effect works nothing like pharmaceutical diuretics, and that distinction is critically important. Pharmaceutical diuretics, like furosemide, force the kidneys to dump sodium and water by blocking tubular reabsorption. They work, but they also deplete potassium and magnesium, stress the tubular cells, and create an artificial electrolyte crisis that the kidneys then have to scramble to correct. Dandelion root increases urine production by increasing the glomerular filtration rate itself, meaning the kidneys are simply working more efficiently rather than being artificially disrupted. A study in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine confirmed that dandelion extract significantly increased urinary frequency and volume through increased renal blood flow, not tubular interference. And remarkably, dandelion root is itself a good source of potassium, replacing what the increased urine flow might otherwise wash away.
Beyond the diuretic effect, chicoric acid in dandelion root has been shown to specifically inhibit the fibrosis signaling pathway in kidney tissue, the same pathway that directs functional cells to be replaced by useless scar tissue. This complements the anti-fibrotic effect of hibiscus tea, but operates through an entirely different molecular target, giving you two independent breaks on the scarring process. Dandelion root also supports liver function, and the liver-kidney connection is something most people have never considered. Your liver pre-processes toxic compounds, making them water-soluble so your kidneys can flush them out.
When the liver is sluggish,
It passes incompletely processed toxins downstream to the kidneys. These half-metabolized compounds are often more reactive and more damaging to the renal tubules than the original toxins would have been. Dandelion root contains a compound called taraxosterol that protects liver cells and stimulates bile production, improving the liver's ability to eliminate fat-soluble toxins through the gut rather than dumping them onto the kidneys. Simmer 1 teaspoon of dried roasted dandelion root in 2 cups of water for 10 to 15 minutes. Strain and drink 1 cup about 2 hours before bed. The timing matters here because the peak diuretic effect passes within 2 to 3 hours, so drinking it earlier means most of the bathroom visits are done before you fall asleep. The fourth drink is a ginger and lemon tonic, and this combination is specifically designed to address 2 kidney-damaging processes that nothing else on this list fully targets. The first is mitochondrial oxidative damage in the tubular cells. The second is the accumulation of advanced glycation end products in the glomerular basement membrane. Ginger contains a family of bioactive compounds called gingerols, with 6-gingerol being the most studied. In the kidney specifically, 6-gingerol activates a master regulatory switch called NRF2, which triggers the production of the body's most powerful internal antioxidants, including superoxide dismutase, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase.
These compounds act directly inside the tubular mitochondria, neutralizing the reactive oxygen species generated during the intense overnight repair processes. A study published in the journal Renal Failure found that ginger extracts significantly reduced markers of oxidative stress in kidney tissue, while simultaneously increasing levels of protective antioxidant enzymes. Without this antioxidant cover, the overnight mitophagy process, where damaged mitochondria are cleared away and replaced, generates enough reactive oxygen species to cause collateral damage to the very cells it is trying to help. The lemon component addresses a slower, sneakier form of kidney destruction that accelerates dramatically after 60. Advanced glycation end products form when sugars react with proteins in a process that happens continuously in your body, but speeds up whenever blood sugar stays elevated. After 60, even people without diabetes often experience prolonged blood sugar elevation after meals due to declining insulin sensitivity. In the kidneys, the primary target is the glomerular basement membrane, the ultra-thin, collagen-rich sheet through which blood is filtered in each nephron. When the proteins in this membrane become glycated, they cross-link and stiffen. The membrane thickens, its structure changes, and its ability to selectively filter the blood begins to deteriorate. 6-gingerol has been shown to intercept the glycation process by trapping reactive chemical intermediates before they can modify kidney proteins. Lemon juice provides concentrated citrate, one of the most powerful natural inhibitors of kidney stone formation, along with vitamin C, which acts as a kind of sacrificial molecule, being preferentially glycated instead of the structural proteins in the kidney. A study in Free Radical Biology and Medicine found that higher vitamin C levels were directly associated with reduced advanced glycation end product accumulation in kidney tissue. Grate a 1-inch piece of fresh ginger, squeeze in half a lemon, pour hot water over it, steep for 5 minutes, strain, and drink about 60 to 90 minutes before bed. The fifth drink is a blend of cranberry juice and fresh beet juice, and this combination closes every remaining gap in your overnight kidney protection. Beet juice is the richest known natural source of dietary nitrate, which your body converts into nitric oxide. In the kidneys, nitric oxide is not optional.
It is the primary signal that controls how the tiny arteries feeding your nephrons dilate and constrict in response to changing demand. After 60, the endothelial cells lining those vessels produce progressively less nitric oxide due to oxidative stress and a natural decline in the enzyme that synthesizes it. The result is vascular stiffness inside the kidney, blood flow that cannot adapt, and nephrons that starve for oxygen during periods of high metabolic activity. Beet juice bypasses the broken endothelial pathway entirely by delivering nitrate that is converted to nitric oxide through a completely separate bacterial and chemical process. A study published in the journal Hypertension found that dietary nitrate from beet juice measurably improved renal blood flow and glomerular filtration rate in older adults with reduced kidney function, with the most dramatic improvements seen in those who had the lowest baseline function. There is also emerging evidence that nitric oxide improves the efficiency of mitochondria themselves, allowing tubular cells to extract more energy from the available oxygen supply, which is critically important during the overnight hours when kidney blood flow is naturally somewhat reduced.
The cranberry component of this blend works through a mechanism that is entirely unique in the world of kidney protective foods. Cranberries contain a specific type of compound called A-type proanthocyanidins that physically prevent pathogenic bacteria from gripping the cells lining the urinary tract and kidney tubules. This is not about killing bacteria. It is about making the surface of your kidney tissue frictionless for them. When bacteria cannot adhere, they are flushed out harmlessly with urine flow. Chronic subclinical urinary tract infections are far more common in older adults than most people realize. They produce no obvious symptoms, but maintain a constant low-grade inflammatory state in the renal tissue that silently contributes to tubular damage and scarring year after year. A Cochrane systematic review confirmed that cranberry products meaningfully reduce the recurrence of urinary tract infections in susceptible populations. Cranberries also contain quercetin, which suppresses the inflammatory signaling that drives glomerulosclerosis, and ursolic acid, which has been shown to protect tubular cells from dying and preserve tubular architecture by activating the NRF2 antioxidant pathway. To make this blend, juice 1 medium peeled beet and combine it with half a cup of pure unsweetened cranberry juice, the real kind, not the sweetened cocktail. Drink it about 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Here is how to make this entire protocol fit into a normal evening without feeling like a burden. Start 2 hours before bed with your dandelion root tea, so the diuretic peak passes before you fall asleep. About 90 minutes before bed, drink your ginger and lemon tonic. 60 minutes before bed, mix a teaspoon of tart cherry concentrate into your cranberry beet blend and top it with water. Throughout the evening, from dinner onward, sip your hibiscus tea cold or warm, whenever it suits you. The total liquid volume across the protocol amounts to roughly 3 to 4 cups, spread over 2 hours, which is moderate and manageable for most people. If you have blood pressure concerns, the hibiscus tea is your anchor. If kidney stones or elevated uric acid are your worry, the tart cherry and ginger lemon combination are your priorities. If you have already received warning signs on blood work, the cranberry beet blend becomes essential. And if you are currently taking medications for blood pressure, gout, or kidney disease, talk to your doctor before starting, because hibiscus can enhance blood pressure medications and tart cherry can interact with uric acid drugs. For everyone else over 60, looking to protect their kidneys before the damage becomes irreversible,
This protocol provides comprehensive, evidence-backed support through compounds that are safe, natural, and built on centuries of human use. Your kidneys have never taken a day off in your entire life. Tonight, give them what they need to finally start catching up.